Welcome to today's episode. This time we're going to be talking about symptoms of anxiety with a special nod to panic attacks. We also talked about what symptoms of panic attacks feel like and how to manage them. So, this way into symptoms and diagnoses of generalized anxiety. All right. So, anxiety today.
Mm-hmm.
Anxiety today. We're going to start with panic attacks
Mm-hmm.
and move into generalized. So, where should we begin?
You have a lot of notes about your experiences. Let's start there.
Okay. Yeah, I used to have panic attacks. They started out as something I didn't know what they were.
Mm-hmm.
It started out feeling like I was having a heart attack.
Yeah.
My heart was skipping a beat, and it would go. And I think all my life I've had a little bit of a flutter.
Sure.
I seem to remember when I was a kid, the doctor saying her heart flutters a little bit. There's a little bit of a in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it never bothered me as a kid. It never freaked me out or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But as I got older, I would notice that my heart would be beating just normal, and then it would stop and then go, buh, 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 like it was catching up.
Yeah.
And so I started freaking out.
Uh-huh.
And I went to the doctor and they checked things. They did EKGs, they did all this stuff and said, your heart is fine.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, okay. But I still kept getting those. And when that would happen, I would then spiral because I think I'm dying. And I would get sweaty and shaky, like visibly
man.
shaking,
Yep.
sweating, nauseous, stomach turns into, I don't want to get too graphic, but you don't want to be far from a bathroom.
Yep.
And it felt like something was happening to me. It felt
Mm-hmm.
like an exterior, something was happening to me, or that I was doing something wrong. And if I could just stop doing that thing, it would go away.
Yeah.
So I equated it to like if you put your hand on a hot stove and it burns, you just remove it and it won't burn anymore.
Right.
And so I kept feeling I just have to do something. I just have to do that thing, whatever that thing. I have to do something to relieve this. And so then I would just get more and more and more anxious
Uh-huh.
because there was nothing to do. I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting there.
Right.
I would wake up in the middle of the night with it
Uh-huh.
after not even having a bad dream or anything.
Yep.
So I went to the doctor again and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but this is not, I can't live like this. And the doctor said, I think you're having a panic attack.
Sure.
And I was like, but I'm not doing anything. I'm not panicking. I'm not stressed. Like if I was going to have a panic attack, it would have been, years before when I had a really shitty, panicky job.
Uh-huh.
But I'm fine now. I'm happy. I'm comfortable. Things are cool. Everything's good.
Yep.
Why am I having these?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, that's why they call it a panic attack, which doesn't make sense to me. So I stopped going to her. I didn't like her, but she did give me medicine.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was. Starts with an A.
Alprazolam. Ativan. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Ativan.
Ativan.
And I was working at a place at the time where I worked with people who prescribed those drugs. And I told my coworker that that's what they gave me. And she's like, be careful with that one.
You can't. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It can, she's like, start slow.
Sure.
And they gave me the tiniest little pill.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, cut it in half.
Okay.
Start with that. So I cut it in half. And it was one of those things that I know you know, but listeners may not know, call it PRN, which just
Yes.
means you don't have to take it every day. You just,
Right.
when you're feeling the symptoms, you take it.
Per necessary. That's right.
Oh yeah. Okay. So she said, cut it in half. So I cut it in half and I took it when I was starting to feel that.
Mm-hmm.
I knocked out.
Yep.
I laid down and I was dead asleep for 4 hours in the middle of the day.
Yes.
So then I was afraid to take it anymore.
Yeah.
So, because I'm like, well, obviously it works, but maybe a little too well.
Yeah.
I do need to function. I can't take one of these at work.
Yes.
So, and because I was afraid of that happening,
Hmm.
more panic attacks, right? Because now I do have something to panic about. But so I just kept them with me,
Hmm.
and just having them with me helped me to know that it was going to be okay if I had to. If I had to go sit in my car and sleep for 4 hours, that's what I'm
Yes.
going to do.
Yep.
But at least I knew that there was a way out.
Hmm.
There was a way I could basically take my hand off that stove if I
Yeah.
had to. But I don't think I ever took another one again. They only gave me like four of them,
Sure. I believe that.
and I didn't. I think I just threw them away after like 10 years.
Oh,
I was like,
there's
well, I'm good. I don't need them anymore.
they still work after 10 years, but yeah, if you didn't need them, you didn't need them.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't. I threw them away and I felt better.
There you go.
That was probably around the time that I did start. I'm going to bring this up again. I did start doing breathing and
Yeah.
meditation things like that.
Yep.
And now every time my heart does that little thing, I go, and
Hmm.
then I have to go, okay, just breathe.
Yeah,
And get in
exactly.
the present moment, count the things around you,
Hmm.
that kind of thing. And it
Yes,
goes away.
that's right.
So
Exactly.
I think part of it, I think it really was that I have this little thing in my heart, but I
Yes.
think that my worrying about that is what made
Hmm.
me go into a tizzy.
Yeah, absolutely. Among other things, but that's probably the main culprit.
Yeah.
Yeah, any one of us can have a panic attack. It really depends on how much stress we have and how we handle the stress. You're absolutely
Hmm.
right. Breathing, grounding, those help to curtail a panic attack. Because what you're doing with breathing and grounding is you're getting your body to physically relax. And if you remember, that's the only signal that the limbic system or your stress response hears. It says, things are calm. It's fine. Chill out. You have to physically relax your body. But if you're freaking out,
Hmm.
like, what am I doing? Why am I panicking? You're going to panic more because you're just amping
Yeah.
up the stress response.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was real good at that.
we all are. So the Ativan, that's a benzodiazepine, and that's a class of anticonvulsants. They're originally made for anticonvulsant. They're a sedative.
Okay.
So
It sure worked as a
it
sedative for me.
absolutely, yep. So the most common ones of benzodiazepines, of course, we've all heard of Xanax.
Hmm.
We've also heard of Valium.
Hmm.
And then Ativan's used in like ERs kind of stuff for people having panic attacks. It's usually a shot form because quicker acting that way. But anyway, benzodiazepines are very common. I like them for anxiety as a PRN. If you try to take it every day, like regularly, you'll build a tolerance to it. You'll have to start taking more and more for it to get the same effect. So I like it as a
Hmm.
PRN. It maintains its effectiveness that way. And you're not building a dependence on it either. Like you did, learning how to meditate, learning how to breathe, focus, that kind of stuff. That's what we want to rely on, not a
Hmm.
medication.
Yeah. I would always much rather not take something if I don't have to.
Absolutely. Yep. You have more self-control if you're doing it yourself rather than who have to take a med.
Yeah.
And then what happens if you run out of your PRN? You have to go to your psychiatrist, your doctor, and then you're freaking out even more. I mean, there's
Hmm.
a lot more things that you can do to manage your own panic attacks than a medication. If you need it, you need it. Nothing wrong with
Hmm.
that. But learn how to meditate, learn how to get your stress response to relax physically, and that way you have more to um what am I trying to say? You have more control over it.
Yeah.
You don't want
Yeah.
it to control you.
Right. Well, and even like with the control thing too, is like I said, when I took that one little half of a quarter of a pill or whatever it was
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and knocked me straight out, there's nothing I could do about it. Once I
Mm-hmm.
started getting all loopy and I'd get to my bed, I can't do anything. I can't snap out of it. What
Yep.
if my house caught on fire?
That's right.
So I don't want to dope myself out like that
Mm-hmm.
and then not be able to get out of it.
Exactly. That's right. To me, the point of everything I do with my clients, it doesn't matter if they have panic attacks, if they have PTSD, it doesn't matter what diagnoses or symptoms they have. Self-control is always what I'm trying to help build. If
Hmm.
you can manage your own physical symptoms, if you can manage your thoughts, you can manage your behaviors, manage your relationships, you have more control over yourself, and that's good. We
Hmm.
want self-control.
Right.
that only enhances well-being, not just for you, but everyone around you.
Hmm.
It's better for everyone, trust me. So, of course, self-control is key. Again, going back to focusing on managing your own breathing, focusing on what's in my senses, what am I feeling under my feet, that kind of stuff. Exactly what you described. Good skills to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I think the question is, what is a panic attack? What is it really? A panic attack is essentially our stress response turning on really quickly. And for seemingly no trigger, we can have certain very obvious triggers, but sometimes there's seemingly no trigger. And a lot of the time when that happens, it's because of subconscious stuff. Not anything we're consciously aware of, but subconscious stuff. It could be present day subconscious stuff. It could be really old stuff from childhood or whatever. And it's just kind of coming back to the surface. Not all the way, because subconscious isn't, again, what we're aware of, but it's coming to the
Hmm.
surface enough where our body knows what's happening. So that's essentially a panic attack. Our body's gearing up to fight flight,
Hmm.
not freeze or shut down, because then our bodies go like what happened
Yeah.
with your PRN
Yeah.
Ativan.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So panic attacks always from the fight and flight. Usually flight, but fight could be in there too. So it's the stress
Sure.
response gearing up.
Hmm.
So a panic attack, again, it comes on all of a sudden. It could come on gradually, but that's not typical. Typical is like all of a sudden,
Hmm.
out of nowhere, bam, it hits you. Was that your experience?
Yeah, pretty much. I do remember there being times where I was like, "Oh, my heart did that funny thing," or
Hmm.
sometimes it would come on even without that.
Yeah.
And I think, well, now that I'm thinking back on it, I also have low blood sugar moments,
Uh,
or I always have. It's more regulated now,
hmm.
but so I used to have that. Oh, I'm kind of. Why am I hot? It's not hot in here.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Now I'm, oh my God. Now I can't, I'm all dizzy and I keep shaking.
Yep.
And so that's kind of a slower response, but it would turn into a panic attack.
Yeah.
Um, but I know sometimes they would start slow like that, but it was probably just my blood sugar and I didn't know all I needed was like a lifesaver.
Yeah, right?
Not a lifesaver, but candy.
Candy.
It's just the first candy that popped into my head. I don't know why. I
Classic.
don't even eat those. But but so yeah, I most of the time it was like, huh,
Hmm.
or it would just like I said, wake me up in the middle
Yeah.
of the night,
Hmm.
and I'm like, what's happening? I didn't have a bad dream that I could recall, and I usually do recall my dreams when I first wake up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it usually did come on pretty fast.
Hmm. That's typical. That's very typical. If you can feel a panic attack coming on, like, maybe my blood sugar's low kind of stuff, then of course you can take the steps to curtail it, but it usually comes on so fast you just have to write it out.
Hmm.
So what does it feel like? Like you described, you definitely notice your heart. Your heart's either beating out of its chest, or it's just like pum boom, pum boom, pum boom, or it's just like fast, 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 like a hummingbird heart.
Hmm.
You get sweaty, like you said. You might start getting shaky. You might start trembling uncontrollably. You might feel like you can't breathe, catch your breath. You're just panicking, panting.
Yes, I would feel like I couldn't take a deep breath.
Yep.
And I would concentrate on taking a really deep breath. And it felt like it was only filling up like this much air and that my lungs were all constricted.
Yeah.
It felt like something was squeezing my chest inside.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's painful. It's
Hmm.
horrible.
Absolutely. You could also get nausea, stomach upset,
Hmm.
just stomach
Hmm.
cramping. You can feel
Hmm.
dizzy, lightheaded. You could feel like you're getting tingly, numb. And then all of these can happen all at once. They can be one at a time in a cascade. I mean, it really depends on just your subjective experiences. It could happen again all at once. You can get one at a time. You can have a few here, you can have a few there. A lot of the time, what's common is people think they're having a heart attack or they're dying somehow
Yeah.
because it feels like it.
Yeah. Sure does.
Like if you can't breathe,
Hmm.
well, if you can't breathe, you die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, all of these physical symptoms, and there's more.
Okay.
But yeah, all of these physical symptoms make it so hard to manage because if you can't breathe, You can't get your body to relax. If you can't get your shaking under control, you can't get your body to relax. So again, you kind of just have to write it out. So to make this a panic disorder, which would be diagnosable, is in addition to having panic attacks, you have to be essentially afraid of having more and be afraid of how you're going to manage it in the first place. So the fear of having more and then doing something differently to try to manage it. That's what makes it the disorder in addition to having the panic attacks themselves.
Okay.
If none of this stuff bothers you, it's not diagnosable. But clearly, panic attacks are bothersome. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
has the same experience. This fucking sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
you weren't thinking there when in the throes of your panic attack, oh, this is great.
Yeah. This is fun.
No.
No, I thought I was dying.
Hmm. Which is never fun.
Right.
That's the long and short of it.
I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to meet my maker yet.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So panic attacks are very black and white in my mind. You're either having a panic attack or you're not. Sometimes it feels like we're having a panic attack. Well, I've got a deadline and then my boss is going to be unhappy and I mean, you know what you're freaking out about. That to me is just you're super triggered by a perceived threat, which is your stress response doing what it's supposed to be doing in a moment of being faced with a real or perceived threat.
Mm-hmm.
A panic attack is, I don't have a meeting, things are fine. Why the fuck do I feel this way? Essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's again, panic attacks are pretty black and white. You can have panic disorder. Again, if you have panic attacks, you're afraid of having more, you do something differently to try to prevent having them. Like, for example, oh, I'm just not going to go to work today in case I have a panic attack. You know what I mean?
That can only last so long.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So eventually, these things that we end up doing to prevent having panic attacks end up being maladaptive because short term it's fine, long term it's not.
Yeah.
And a lot of time, if we get dependent on benzodiazepines or some other medication, then, that's not necessarily adaptive either. I mean, sure, take meds, you need it, but if you need it constantly for the rest of your life, that's maladaptive. There are other
Mm-hmm.
coping skills, relaxation techniques, that kind of stuff you can learn to manage it as well, in addition to, and eventually you won't need the meds, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yep. Panic attacks usually go hand in hand with generalized anxiety disorder. Generalized anxiety disorder is kind of its own broad strokes category. You can have panic attacks. You don't have to have panic attacks with generalized anxiety disorder. You don't have to have generalized anxiety disorder if you have panic disorder,
Mm-hmm.
but they do go hand in hand. So generalized anxiety disorder is like you're worried about anything and everything. I wake up, well, is my dog going to love me today? And how am I going to do at work today? Like anything and everything you can think of, you're worrying about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes it general. It's not a specific thing. If you're specifically worried about one topic, that's not generalized anxiety disorder.
Okay.
So I'm just curious, what sort of experiences do you have with just feeling anxious about anything and everything? If you have those experiences.
I do sometimes, not as much. I think I was more anxious when I was younger, but
Hmm.
um, I do find myself waking up very early, way
Hmm.
before I'm supposed to, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Gross.
I know. Worrying about, oh, did I send that email to, because I'm trying to get my mom on this elderly waiver thing and managing her life as well as my own.
Yep.
And oh, I have to make an appointment to get her into the dentist. Oh, I have to make an appointment to get myself in. I have to do, and so the list of things to do. And so I do tend to wake up going, oh, or okay, I wake up with an idea. Oh, I know I should go and look for blah blah blah. And so then I'm on my phone looking for to buy something at 4 o'clock in the morning because I don't want to forget that I need to do it.
Hmm.
And so I do have moments like that where I wouldn't necessarily categorize it as an anxiety issue, but I
Hmm.
do have a lot of things on my plate
Yep.
and I'm reminded of that a lot.
Yeah.
my brain wakes me up in the middle of the night to remind me of that.
I'm sure.
So I find that writing or not writing, but putting them in my phone
Yeah.
in a list that I
Uh-huh.
can then look at in the morning, or making task reminders in my calendar.
Hmm.
However, when I do that, then I have 47 task reminders that go off bing, 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 bing every 5 minutes.
No thanks.
And then I'm like throwing my phone across the room.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm cursing my 4 a.m. self for doing that because I don't have time for all that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I probably need a better coping mechanism. But yeah, so I don't know if I would, I don't know. That does sound like you to be an anxiety disorder or just a momentary thing because that's where I am in my life right now?
That's a momentary thing because, in addition to worrying about anything and everything, we also have to have difficulty controlling what we're worrying about, how much we're worrying about it. Sounds like if you write it down, you can forget about it until the alarms go off.
I can, yeah,
Yeah.
usually.
So, if you're not having difficulty controlling the worry, it's not generalized anxiety disorder.
Okay.
You also have to have physical symptoms that go with it, like feeling physically tense, keyed up, on edge, just I can't relax, just irritable, your mind going blank, difficulty concentrating, you can't sleep, you can't fall asleep, you can't stay asleep, you're never feeling rested, that kind of stuff. Um, just irritable out of proportion or out of nowhere. So your body is just physically tense and on edge all the time too.
Okay.
So with what you've got going on, to me, that is the perceived threats that come with being a caretaker for your mom with Alzheimer's.
Hmm.
Because if you're not taking care of her, of course, her assisted living is kind of helping, but you're the primary caretaker. If anything goes wrong, it's on you.
Yeah.
So that's not generalized anxiety. That is a specific thing
Yeah.
that you're not necessarily worried about. Because there are a lot of times it's like, oh, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
So generalized in this situation, generalized anxiety disorder would be like, I know mom's fine, but is she okay? I mean, did she wander off? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I know she's fine, but
Yeah.
that's one of the hallmarks of generalized anxiety disorder. Yeah, but. Yeah, but. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, but.
Yeah.
I know the sky's not falling, but.
Yeah.
Do you know anyone like that?
Yeah. I mean, I know I've known people that have been like that before. I'm
Hmm.
so worried about like my mom. Granted, this is part of her memory issues, but um, she's worried about the debt, the
Yeah.
national debt. And
Right.
I'm like, Mom, this is not your problem to solve.
Yes.
I mean, she was only worried about it for 5 minutes when she was telling me about it, but that's an example of something that you have no business being worried about. That's
Yep.
nothing you can control.
Yep.
There's not a damn thing you can do about it.
Yep.
You didn't get us in this situation.
Hmm. That's right.
There's somebody else that should be worried about it, but they're not. So,
Hmm. And that's a whole nother topic for a whole
I
nother
know.
day.
That's right. So, yeah, I think I have probably done that before where I'm like take on some other worry for somebody else or something else because I have that little bit of that empathy thing going
Yep.
on where I feel like I have to be worried for you as well to in order to connect with you and whatever you're worried about, I'm worried about kind of
Hmm.
thing.
Definitely.
But yeah, I have seen that in people before that I'm like, why are you worried about that? That has nothing to do with you. That is not your
Hmm.
problem. You're
Yep.
fine.
Yep. It's really hard to just logically take that in because when we go to parts of self, it's not the logical part of self that's really dealing with these symptoms. It's usually the other parts of self.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the time, if especially our protector parts, they think about it this way. If we are at a 50 out of 100 and then shit happens, well, we can jump to up 100 out of 100 pretty quick rather than going from 0 to 100. So if I
Yeah.
got to stay prepared all the time, I'll be better.
Hmm.
And so there's a certain level of hypervigilance that comes with generalized anxiety disorder. That's not necessarily an official criteria to meet the diagnosis, but that hypervigilance really is kind of an undercurrent. If we look at generalized anxiety from a branch of the stress response, it comes from the flight response. We
Yeah.
have to be aware of these real and perceived threats to flee from them. And that's the whole point of generalized anxiety disorder, is to keep you ready constantly to avoid real or perceived threats.
Okay.
Panic disorder, that is, again, your body just gearing up to fight, flight, freeze, literally just more flight than the other two. But when we get to a certain point with panic attacks, we are immobilized because our body is just reacting. So it
Yeah.
is kind of a freeze effect too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've noticed that.
Yeah. I'm just coming to mind. I'm watching Top Chef,
Uh-huh.
and there was in the first episode of this new season, there was one of the chefs. She had a panic attack. She was running around trying to get her dish done, and their time was running out. And you could see her level of anxiety just doing this.
Yeah.
And and I think she dropped something or she slipped or something, and she just went into
Yeah.
and what the host had come over and talk to her and say, "It's okay.
Yeah.
You're fine." And talk to her and she calmed down, but it was really hard to watch.
I bet.
And it was, yeah, it was scary. She looked and she kept, doing this like I could just tell that her heart was, you know,
Yeah.
fucking with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that one did kind of spiral into that because it was regular anxiety about stuff
Right.
that just built and built until it
Mhm.
exploded.
That's right. And that's why panic attacks and generalized anxiety disorder go hand in hand. They're working on the same branch of the stress response, essentially,
Hmm.
and one can trigger the other
Hmm.
quite easily. Because if we're hypervigilant, we're like at 50 out of 100 already, then it doesn't
Hmm.
take much for our bodies to amp up more.
Sure.
And I can tell, Amy, just you watching that scene and you describing it to me, I know you could feel it.
I could. I feel you right now.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it.
Yeah.
It was hard to watch. And then a friend of mine was watching it too, and he's like, I don't need to see somebody having a panic attack on TV. And
Jeez.
I'm like, Jesus, have some empathy.
Right? That's right. Yeah.
Here I am sobbing over her, and you're
Oh.
saying I don't need to see that shit.
Uh-huh.
So,
Well, let's just chalk it up to that's his defense mechanism because he was probably feeling it too, huh?
probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah,
Just throwing it out there.
probably.
Your friend can tell me how close or far off I am. Maybe he's just like, no, that's bullshit. I don't need to see that.
That's bullshit. I'm
yeah.
fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Everybody needs therapy. That's all I'm going to say.
Friend, are you listening?
No, he won't be.
Damn.
I know.
It's all good.
When you're working on your mental health, sometimes the smallest rituals make the biggest difference. That's why we love Three Spirit, award-winning non-alcoholic elixirs designed by plant scientists and bartenders to help you feel good in every sense. Each blend has its own mood. Social Elixir helps you to connect and feel uplifted. Livener brings energy and focus without the crash. And Nightcap soothes your mind and body into real rest. Instead of numbing out, these drinks help you tune in, whether you need connection, energy, or calm. Head to us.threespiritdrinks.com and use the code THISWAYIN for 15% off your first order. Three Spirit, crafted for your mind, body, and balance.
So, to me, panic disorder, generalized anxiety disorder are usually pretty black and white. To me, it's not nearly as nuanced as PTSD or personality disorders. You either have anxiety or you don't. We all have anxiety at times. Let me be clear. We all have anxiety
Yeah.
at times because let's face it, life fucking sucks. Life is stressful.
Mm-hmm.
When it rains, it pours. We have that cliche for a reason. When it rains, it pours. It's
Mm-hmm.
true.
Mm-hmm.
So we all have anxiety because our stress response is being triggered on by real and perceived threats constantly throughout our day. Oh, I'm going to miss this deadline at work. Fuck. You're anxious. So a lot of the time, the stress response, the flight response, really is there to keep you living, surviving. But if it's perceived threats like boss isn't going to like my presentation here, or I miss my deadline, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills, that kind of stuff, the anxiety is not very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, if our body's too amped up, it's really hard to think logically. It's really hard to just do X, Y, and Z, boom, 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 matter of factly. Our logical
Yep.
part goes out the window, the higher intensity our stress response is on.
Yep.
So if we're constantly, well, this is generalized anxiety disorder, but if we're constantly at a 50 out of 100 stress response intensity, it's very hard to be logical in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a deadline, you have bills to pay, you need that logical part of self to get through this. So the anxiety there is not necessarily your friend unless you harness it in the right way.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the key, regardless if you have generalized anxiety disorder or not. Every form of anxiety you can harness in a good way. For example, I don't know how many speech classes you had to take in high school or college or whatever, but every speech class I ever had to take, high school, college, whatever, it's like, oh, that nervousness helps you to be more on your toes and be more alert and all of that stuff. And sure, it does at a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
You can harness that anxiety to help you get that deadline done, to help you get
Mm-hmm.
your bills paid. If you need to go pick up cans, this is ridiculous. If you need to go pick up cans to get the last $10 for your bill, sure, you can use that anxiety to do that. It's a ridiculous example, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can harness the energy behind this branch of the stress response to help us. But again, not if we're not thinking logically about it. We have to have low enough stress response to harness it.
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing I can say, regardless if it's generalized anxiety disorder or situational anxiety, because they both happen, breathe. Circling back to how we started with you, just breathe,
Mm-hmm.
breathe. So what for you in particular about like focusing on your five senses or breathing or meditating or anything that what is it about it that actually works for you?
I think it's the um I think it's just the focusing on reminding myself that I am not in the lion's mouth. I am sitting in my room. I'm sitting in my bed or sitting wherever I am, and I can look around and say, that's not on fire. That's
Mhm.
not on fire. Then that's not on fire.
Yeah.
And kind of talking to myself slowly like that,
Mhm.
not even out loud, but concentrating on what is right in front of me instead of what's in the future or what I just did
Yep.
and what is right here, present moment. I know
Yes.
people say that all the time and it sounds hokey, but
Mhm.
it's really hard to be in the present moment
Yes.
because 5 seconds later, that's in the past.
Hmm.
So to really be present right now, present is right here.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to not get stuck in what was happening there or what's happening in 5 more seconds.
Yes.
So I'm still not, I wouldn't say that I've learned that, but I'm working on that.
Hmm.
And that helps me a lot
Yeah.
to be just in the moment.
Yes. That's
And
huge.
it can be words, it can be breathing, it can be music.
Yeah.
I can put on, I have some apps on my phone that have like binaural beats or other kinds of soothing white noise or something like that,
Yes.
or just music,
Yeah.
songs that I really like that calm me down.
Absolutely.
I have an album when I was having the panic attacks. I found that there was an album that I would listen to. It was in my regular rotation, but anytime that woman's voice came on,
Hmm.
calm all over
Oh,
my body. So I made sure that I had that entire album on my phone and it was accessible to me no matter where I was. And I could
love
just
it.
flip that on and listen to that. or even just hum the song in my head. That helped
Mm,
sometimes too.
yeah.
So, yeah, those are the kinds of things that worked or have worked for me.
Yes, absolutely. That conscious awareness where you put it, that awareness makes a difference. You're absolutely
Hmm.
right. So, a lot of what I'm hearing you say, you're logically reassuring yourself, which is huge, and then you were physically relaxing.
Hmm.
So that those two going hand in hand together work very well.
Hmm.
That, of course, is in the moment. Long term for generalized anxiety disorder, there's some deeper work to do, but I love
Sure.
absolutely everything that you did in all of those moments. The soothing voice, the music, breathing, reassurance, all of the above. Perfect. Seriously. You
Thank you.
probably didn't even realize how much you were helping yourself.
No, I mean, I don't, probably not, but I guess now that you're saying that and I'm thinking about it, that's what I would do if a friend in front of me was doing that.
Yep.
So if I could just, remind myself to do what I would do for someone else,
Hmm. Yeah,
works.
absolutely. Yeah, and sometimes being your own best friend is it's hard to do, but very
It is
necessary.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to the deeper things working on generalized anxiety disorder, a lot of the time, from what I have seen with my clients, and I've been doing this for a long time, the number one big sort of overarching category is family of origin dynamics contribute to generalized anxiety disorder.
Okay.
Parents are critical. Parents don't meet, emotional and attachment needs enough. Not giving the proper guidance of how do you problem solve. It doesn't matter how you problem solve, whether it's conflict resolution, whether it's how do I get from point A to point B. It's just a lot of the time not knowing how to do things in real life contributes in and of itself, but usually it's a lot more than that. So,
Hmm.
family of origin dynamics aren't ideal. No one has a perfect family. No one's going to have a perfect family. But if it's ideal enough, that's good enough. And
Hmm.
ideal is essentially you get the right amount of the right kind of attention, and you get guidance, you get discipline, not punishments, but discipline. It's different from
Hmm.
punishment, so on and so forth.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of things we need from our family of origin to set us on the right path. And missing any one of these right things can lead us on the path to generalized anxiety disorder, depression, PTSD, you name it. But a lot of the time, that's kind of the overarching theme. Family of origin dynamics weren't great in one way or another. And then people end up with generalized anxiety disorder.
Okay.
In addition to that, we also develop all sorts of negative cognitions, which are negative self beliefs like, I'm not good enough, I'm a failure, I'm never going to amount to anything, I'm a terrible person. I could go on and on. There's a million negative cognitions out there. And so the more negative cognitions we have, the more symptoms of generalized anxiety disorder we end up having too. They also go hand in hand. It's not necessarily you have anxiety because you have negative cognition, and it's not necessarily you have a negative cognition because you have anxiety. It's there's other factors that kind of contribute to both, so they go hand in hand as well. I could go on, but other things about generalized anxiety is just feeling like you are not equipped internally somehow on a parts of self dynamic. A lot of time kid parts will kind of take over when the stress response increases.
Hmm.
And so in real life, children don't necessarily know how to handle adult situations. You want adults to handle it. And therefore, with our parts of self, if our adult parts aren't handling it and our kid parts are, we're probably not going to handle it as well as we could. And we're not
Right.
going to feel as good about it, especially we're not going to be confident about it.
Hmm.
We're going to be anxious about it.
Hmm.
So a lot of the time it boils down to parts of self and which ones are active or not active or whatever too. So, the best thing I can say is if you notice you have symptoms of generalized anxiety disorder, find a good EMDR therapist or ego state or both. I mean,
Hmm.
CBT is good for stabilizing, but
Hmm.
it's not necessarily good for getting to the roots of it and helping you be free of the symptoms eventually.
Hmm.
CBT is good at first, it's not good for going deep.
Okay.
So if the roots of generalized anxiety disorder start when your family of origin, you got to go deep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the bullet points of how you treat generalized anxiety disorder. I mean, CBT, according to insurance companies, is the gold standard.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that other therapies will definitely get you farther.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Cool.
any I don't know, questions that you have or anything that I didn't touch on for this?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we covered it.
Cool.
Do we know what we're going to do next time?
Good question. I think we should do depression next time. 'Cause depression and
Okay.
anxiety go hand in hand too.
Sure. Sure. All right. So join us next time for depression. Doesn't that sound like fun?
It sounds thrilling, right? Oh my
Our
God.
depression party. We're going to have a depression party.
Uh,
I mean, we probably will laugh at some point,
I'm
but
sure we will. That's funny though. Like, yeah.
This Way In is a conversation about mental health and everyday well-being, but it is not therapy. Listening to this podcast does not create a therapist-client relationship, and the information we share is for educational and entertainment purposes only. If you are feeling overwhelmed or struggling with your mental health, please reach out to a qualified professional in your area. Never delay, disregard, or change professional recommendations or advice because of something you heard here. And please remember that any views expressed here are our own and don't represent any licensing boards. This Way In is co-produced by Brittney Baxter-Dameron and me, Amy Lotsberg, at Collected Sounds Media. I also edit and manage the show, which is part of the Collected Sounds Independent Podcast Network.